It's called Don't Be a Hag, Drop the Nag, right? Don't be a hag. A hag. What is a hag? We were trying to figure out what stuff. What's a hag?
Old icky lady.
Icky lady.
Super annoying.
And yeah. Okay, so don't be a hag, drop the nag. So we're going to talk about nagging. We got a lot of feedback. Thank you very much for the people who wrote in and said, wait a minute, Leah, on those 8 things you did last, they were like, blum, blum, blum. Can you spread them out? Because the nagging thing, I got to know how to handle that. And you just went over it in a very quick thing. So we are doing an entire class on nagging. Please, we want to help you not nag. So the best way to do that is type in below, comments, ask questions. We're here. We're here for you. We're going to answer this and get this handled. We're going to take care of the nagging once and for all here today live. If you're in the teleconference, press *6 and we'd love to hear from you. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to read one of the letters that I got because it kind of, there were a lot of letters. So pardon me if I don't read your, hello. Oh, *6?
No, you're good.
Okay, I'm good. That was very weird. Somebody, oh, that was me?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize. Okay. So the issue is that there were a lot of letters that came in. I'm sorry for not reading your letter if you were one of the people who wrote in, but this letter had points that all the other ones shared in. Okay. Did that make sense? Hello. Okay, fine. Okay, the story. Okay, here we are. Dear Leah, just like you said, I really didn't want to nag anymore and be constantly fighting. So I tried virtual duct tape. For those of you who didn't hear, where's my duct tape? There we go. Oh, by the way, with this duct tape, you can do virtual duct tape, or you can carry the duct tape. It makes a beautiful bracelet, see?
Yeah.
You go like that, okay? And you put it over your mouth. But we are going to now have it packaged, have Marriage Secrets packaged with a pack of duct tape, just so for yourself. No, joking, there was a joke. Okay, fine. So she says, I really didn't want to nag anymore and stop the fight, and I wanted to stop the fighting, so I tried virtual duct tape. But now nothing in my house is getting done. Yeah, but ouch. There are like 4 burnt out light bulbs around the house that he said he would take care of, but never did, never does. And he sits there and plays, it'll take like 10 minutes and he sits there and he plays video games. He still has never gotten around to getting his flu shot, and he works with elderly patients. And, I've reminded him so many times, but it says she says, and he still doesn't get it. Who is going to pay for it? If he gets sick, I'm the one who's going to have to clean up his mess. I'm going to have to pick up the kids and do everything in the house and take care of him. So it's just not fair. She said, well, but what gets me the most upset is I have to remember everything I have to do, plus I have to remember everything he has to do. I'm doing his list and my list, and then now you're saying don't even nag him about his list. It's not fair. And how can I stop nagging when that is the only effective way to get him to do things I need him to do? Okay. If you want to know the answer, send $9.99 to, no, joking. It's free. Here we go. Okay, fine. So I'm going to go, the big question of the day that we want to ask ourselves. Is nagging the only way to get things done? Is that it? The $1 million question. Is nagging the only way? So let's go right inside to our sources. Again, everything we do here, yes, Leah's great ideas. No, it's 3,000-year track record of a 3,000-year track record of success that we are following. So we're going to go and look at our sources and our traditional Jewish sources to see what are we meant to do in this situation. So Chazal tell us that when you speak from the heart, it enters the heart. And as King Solomon said, the words of the wise, when spoken gently, are heeded. And if we treat our husband like a king, he will treat us like a queen. So the basic thing that we're going to learn here is exactly how to say what we need without nagging and accomplish what we want the most in the world, which is closeness to our husband. Now I have people who argue and say, no, I want the things done. I don't really care about closeness, okay? So, however, ultimately, if you have that closeness, the stuff's going to get done because there'll be blessing in your home. And instead of nagging, fix the dishwasher, or whatever. Can a guy fix it? I guess you fix the Some
of them can.
Some of them can. Fix the hinge to the thing, to the door. Okay, fix the hinge. I want you to fix the hinge. If there's shalom in the house and there's no nagging and there's peace and there's closeness and there's beauty and you've worked hard for shalom bayis, for peace in the home, the door hinge won't even break. So that's what where we want to get to. So even if it seems like, that you'd rather have the thing done than the closeness, if you have the closeness, the thing won't need to get done. This is not Leah's good idea. This is what our Masorah teaches us. Okay, very powerful. Let's go to our tool for the day. Sarit, are you ready for this? You haven't said a word. Are you Kajabali?
I'm very busy. Your Instagram is like chatting up.
Oh, good. Hi,
Your
Instagrammers.
Instagram people are just loving it. And they're saying, yes, you need skills, and it also depends on how you say it, and yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And we are totally on game here because wait till you see what we got in store for you. Okay, fine. Tool of the day. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you 3 nag busters. That's what the class is today. The tools of the day are 3 nag busters, all very powerful, a little bit of logistics, a little bit emotional, a little bit spiritual. We're going to get it all in there. But the main thing is I want to start with telling you a story. I want you, can everybody use their imagination, visualize yourself. You're sitting at your dining room table, if you have one, if you don't have one of those, you're sitting on the floor, whatever you do. Okay, in the couch, living room, wherever. You're sitting with your husband. You are doing some work, whether you're a teacher and you're grading papers, or whether you're paying the bills, or whether you're doing some kind of stressful stuff in the same room as your husband. Your husband's sitting there, and he's taking care of the insurance paperwork for filling out forms or doing something else. Also stressful, okay? So the kids are all asleep. It's, 11 o'clock at night. You should be long asleep, but you're not. The kids are in bed and fast asleep or pretending to be asleep, one or the other. But you're in the room with your husband, and there's a level of tension just because that's how life is when you got annoying things to do. Fine. You're sitting there, you're correcting, let's just say you're correcting the papers, and, after about 15 minutes, your husband says, oh, did you remember to buy the brisket for Yontif? And you're like, oh, you like a deer caught in headlights, that thing, like, and you froze, and you're like, oh, no, I didn't. I'll take care of it tomorrow. Fine. Okay, you go back to your thing. Now, that's ratcheted up the tension, right? Right? Now, 15 minutes later, he's sitting there. What's the other example I had? I have a bunch of cute things. Okay. Oh, yeah. So you're sitting there getting your work done or whatever, and he says, oh dear, did you take care of call the plumber because there's a leak under the sink? It's been dripping and dripping. Did you call the plumber? And you're like, again, deer, caught in headlights, uncomfortable feeling, yuck, ugh, stress. I'll take care of it tomorrow. Now, good luck if you say I'll take care of it tomorrow. Usually you'd throw a book at him, but let's just say you're a nice lady. You say, okay, yeah, take care of it. 15 minutes later, he says, oh, did you stop the payment on that check where the check was lost? Did you do that? For $400? Deer in headlights. Frozen. You don't throw a book at him. You say, oh, I'll take care of that tomorrow. Now, everybody got the picture? You're with us? Okay, I'm seeing nods. Okay, good. And I assume they're thumbing up or something.
Yeah.
You feel the pain. Okay, fine. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your stress level at this moment? How would you rate the tension level in the room, in the house, how would you rate it?
14.
14. I was going to say 1,000. 1,000. Like, hello. Yeah, you could get over 10. Right, exactly.
Over 10,
Thank you.
yeah.
I got my, whatever. I'm just a little bit more exaggeration.
Dramatic.
Dramatic. So there it is. That's like our answer, ladies. That's what nagging is. That's the feeling it engenders. That's the level of tension in the house it engenders. There's no unadulterated facts other than that when you are, no, nagging this and nagging that, or whatever, it creates, just like you hopefully felt in that little imagery, you feel like you can't relax in your own home.
Guard is always up.
Yeah,
Guard
Rosemary
is
said an 8. Hers would be an 8, but she's been married for many years.
The experience.
Oh,
doing
my
it.
God. Like an 8.
She's like,
But
I think Rosemary just tuned out half the things he asked her. She didn't even hear it.
Yeah.
He spoke. She's like, what? Well, whatever. Someone's talking. I think.
But right. But the issue is that it's a. Does the leak need to be taken care of? Of course it does. Does the plumber need to be taken? The plumber is the leak. Hold on. The plumber, the leak, the stop payment on the check,
yes.
the buying the brisket. All of those things need to be done. But here's where we look back at our sources, and our sources say that the words of the wise, when spoken gently, are heeded. Meaning, it's not what you say; it's how you say it. It's how you say it. And so, that's what we're going to be talking about today. One of the things we're going to be talking today is how do we get the, let's say it's the plumbing leak and the check balance. How do we get that stuff done without clobbering our husbands? Because I will bet you when you were sitting there, you felt clobbered. You felt like, ooh, just leave me alone. Can you see? Would you think I'm grading these papers or paying these bills or whatever for my own good? This is stuff I have to do, and you're interrupting with more stuff I have to do. Very stressful, very unpleasant. Total lack of closeness in the home. Okay.
Yeah, Rosemary said, by the way, 26 years, and that she does true tune him out.
Gotcha.
Called it.
We don't know.
I don't know what that is.
So here's the thing. Owning it is 90% of it, ladies. Owning it and getting it and understanding it gives you, that's the tools to be able to get close. Okay, so we're on the right track. Okay, fine. So now, here's some questions for you. Rosemary, I want your answer to this. How would you rate your closeness with your husband after his lovely questions? Not tension in the room. That was 14 or whatever the other numbers are. How would you rate your closeness with your husband after his questions? How would you rate your desire to stay in the same room with your husband after he asked those questions? Don't you just want to leave? Like, oh, I'm sorry, I've got to go to China.
That was a joke in my house. I'll go to the door. I'm leaving to China.
I'm leaving to China. That's exactly. It's like it's not. You don't want to be there. How would you rate your defensiveness and annoyance at your husband? Like when I said you'd want to throw the book at him, you would probably. We all would probably want to throw the book at him. Hopefully, none of us would. But that sense, that feeling. Okay. How much would that kind of treatment of you give you the feeling like you wanted to take care of your husband? Not so good, right? Would it make you want to push your husband away or draw him close? Obviously, push him away. This is the atmosphere that we are creating in our homes by nagging. I'm trying to paint a picture so you get the idea that, nagging, well, it gets stuff done. Okay, maybe. Under what's the fallout? What's the ramification?
Right. At what cost?
At what cost? At what cost? There's lack of closeness, tension, and again, the Shekhinah, God's presence has jumped out the window because it doesn't want to be there where there's So nagging, if you don't nag, the Shekhinah, there's peace in the home, and then your husband, you have closeness, and then the dishwasher won't break or the hinge won't break, okay? So how do you do that? That's what we're going to cover. Okay. Step number 1. The first key is, ladies, every one of us needs a plan, a nagging plan. We need a plan. How are we going to accomplish this? So we're going to start with logistics because it's the easiest thing to battle. And once we get those logistics down, then the emotions can follow. We can, it's like do and then listen. Like we're going to just jump right into action, and then hopefully our mind and our hearts will follow suit. So, okay, an anti-nag plan. Number 1, the first important thing is to write it down. So rather than bombarding your husband with 10 requests, okay, get either a bulletin board or a clipboard or a Excel a spreadsheet, one of those things. Right. Something, index cards, pretty pink flowers, Post-it notes, something where you can actually get out of your rage and your anger that he hasn't done it, and you just write down the light bulb. This is the best way to do it. The light bulb in the hall is burnt out. Choice would be go fix the light bulb, and like it needs fixing. Can you do it? You're not his boss. Don't want him to ever feel like you're his boss. These are just things in the house. They're collective things in the house that need to be done. The less you can put on his chart or his bulletin board, the better for you. Okay, because then he'll have more energy to love you and to take care of you and to do things for you and think of flowers instead of thinking about, I need to get light bulbs. Okay, he's not going to think, if he is so crowded in his head of stuff he's got to do, he's not going to have the extra energy to do the things that might mean a lot to you, to buy you chocolates. Okay, right. Good chocolate, Godiva chocolates or something. Are they cool?
Yeah.
They are? Okay, very good. Okay, fine. Okay, good.
There are apps, by the way, for that. Apps where you and him, if you both have the app.
Right, we used to use Trello, honestly. We had a Trello family board.
You just put it into that. Like when we used to do grocery shopping,
yeah.
I would put in an item on the app, and when he'd go grocery shopping, he would see, all the stuff that I added.
Or whatever works for you. Like texting works great
What's
for
the
my
name of
husband
the app?
rather than asking.
I'm gonna look it up.
Okay, so
That's
hold on.
yeah.
So the problem is with texting and emails is that they go into a big sea
Right.
of texts and emails.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
hear.
not. And but so here's the thing. It's not that as crucial that it works for you as that it works for your husband.
Yes.
So if he is the kind of guy who is, you can tell some husbands, like, some women, they're jotting, you tell them something and they've got their phone out and they're putting in their notes. Some people, they pull out the back of a shoe or a receipt and they write on the back of it. People are different ways. You have to know what is going to speak to your husband, what he's going to like. This is going to be a hard transition. If you have nothing like this in your life, like I see you guys already have something, but if you have nothing in your life and you implement this is a hard transition. And I'll tell you how to deal with that.
Texting, if you text him while he's doing something else, then
Gone.
and then the text, he has to like refer back to it and scroll
Scroll
back
up.
to it. And my husband's like, please do not leave me messages by the text because I don't see them or I don't remember to look back. And then I'm sitting there for
Note
forever
to
trying
Apple.
do it.
On your next update, make text you know how like when you go to a email and it says unread and you can mark it as unread?
Correct.
So I do that, like I'm like, oh, I have to remember that. I just mark it as unread and then it shows up as a dingy thingy circle or whatever.
Correct.
So as a it's funny. 10 years from this
This is gonna be the norm.
This,
yeah.
this the archive. No, on our archives we have. What do they have? What do we have on our website? Our digital library. Our digital library.
Yes,
So this is going to be up for a long time. So 10 years from now they'll say, what does she mean
That's
those
right.
thingies? And what does it mean the
Right.
WhatsApp? What was email or whatever? It's going to be involved. Who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway, okay. But anyways, so the thing is that. I'm just continuing my note to Apple. They should have an unread on the text, but right now they don't.
They don't.
An email,
Once
it's going to
it's
get
read,
lost
it's
in his
gone.
sea of millions of things. His boss emails him. Everybody's emailing him.
Right.
You want to have a special place in his heart with this. Okay, so figure out some system, whether it's an app, whether it's Microsoft Excel document, a Google Doc where you can share whatever it is. I'm a color person, so it could be that things that have to be done that week, you can get different 5 different colors of post-it notes and have pink ones. These actually are urgent, yellow at some point, whatever, something. Figure out a system that he likes. I got this new magnet board. It's like this. It's whatever. It's got magnets on it and it kind of sits on your desk and it's really heavy and it doesn't tip over and it's awesome. It's got little pinchy things. Find something that works for you. That's not for my husband, actually. That's for me to remember anything, which still doesn't exactly work, but we're good. We're good.
You're pretty good.
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
I'm like, hi.
For like a supply store.
Yeah,
Bulletin boards, magnet thingies.
I'm like, have you met yourself?
You got. I'm telling you, you could do the next commercial for like Staples.
Okay,
All
fine.
your
I do love those things, actually. Okay, so fine. So what you're doing is you're getting a plan. You're getting a logistics situation. How are you going to get the information from your head to his to-do list? How's it going to go from his list? Like if he's in the car and he's driving, he says, oh, remind me to call Aunt B later, right? How are you going to tell him without nagging him? I've got a question for you. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that with saying, oh, you wanted me to tell? Even something he told you to do, when you turn around and tell him to do it, that gets that tension, gets that angst, gets that, what is she, my boss?
Really?
What is she, my mommy?
Even if you say, you asked me to remind you, so I'm just reminding you now. Like,
right. That
Even if you
honestly,
say it
instead
that
of going from a 0 to 100 of annoyance, it goes from 0 to 14.
I feel like I would be so grateful if he reminded me when I asked him to remind me.
Okay.
It doesn't translate to a man.
So I hear, and it could be that I'm 20% wrong, but in the chance that I'm 100% right, it's not something you want. If you have a system, you bypass that whole thing. I don't think, look, how can I say that with such conviction? Because there's nature, there's the Bria, there's how the world was created. And for whatever reason, I don't understand God's logic on this, but God created human beings from a toddler to a old person to not like to be told what to do.
You're not the boss of me.
Yeah, you're not the boss of me. You have a 1-year-old kid who's, and the mother's like, here's the mashed potatoes, and the kid's shoving them, and he's eating it himself, and he's getting it all more on on his lap and on the floor than he's getting in his mouth. But he wants to do it himself. Don't tell me what to do, that I should open my mouth when you proffer the food. I want to do it myself. This is how human beings are. That's how human nature is. So anything you ask is going to meet up with a defensive softness on his part. And so you got to minimize it. You got to reduce it and reduce it and reduce it. We're starting out with the most effective way, which is getting it in a place that, look, when he sees the board, you think he doesn't hear your voice saying, wah, 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 get this done, Yeah, it's just soft. The manner we speak, as we said from Chazal, how you say it, the manner that you speak, the tone that you speak is the wise way to go. Okay, so the plan, write it down. Don't brainstorm with your husband practical solutions. This doesn't have to be you coming down with the new system. You say, listen, what is going to work for you? What's going to be the least annoying for you? So number 2 is to sell your husband on this idea. This is not like, again, you're not coming down on him. Tell him, sit down with him and, take him to dinner, make sure he's eaten and rested and you're eaten and rested, and say, listen, I'm on a new anti-nagging campaign. You think
he's going to be listening?
Yeah, exactly.
Hello?
Definitely get his attention.
Get his attention. I'm on an...
He's like, what?
When is this effective?
Yes, right, exactly. Like, hello?
Who are you and where'd you put my wife?
Right, exactly. So, you want, if he now he's listening, right? I'm on an anti-nagging campaign. I want to think of a system that we can do where I don't nag you, where I'm not ever, you walk in the door and you're like, oh, what's she going to say next? Women always ask me, my husband seems, in the house, avoidant. He avoids me. He avoids the kids. He's avoidant. On edge. Can you imagine walking into your own house and not being able to just feel comfortable? You feel like any minute that something's going to be asked of you or demanded of you, or, you walk in the door, can you take out the trash? You walk in the door, can you help me clean up the whatever? It's tough. They've got our job as wives. We're the masters of the home. Our husband is the king, but we are the one who create the environment. And our job is to make it as yummy and welcoming as we possibly can. I'm not saying we all have to be perfect, because, we have bad days, we have bad moods, we have bad weeks, bad years, whatever. Sometimes it's challenging. But the goal is to create a beautiful serenity in our home. And that starts with not having him to be on edge. So you want to sell him on this anti-nag campaign. You want to tell him, listen, I don't want to be the boss of you. Right now, if, for instance, a light bulb needs to be changed, I'm afraid of ladders, and you're the only one who can do it. I could hire another person or whatever. How do you want me to do it? Rather than saying, did you change the light bulb? Can you change it now? How about now? Oh, I'm on my way out. Oh, I'm here. I'm there. Whatever. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that wife. I just don't. And I'm putting you on notice. I don't want to be that wife. What can I do? Would you like me to get a bulletin board and put it on there? Would you like me to get magnets and put them on the fridge? Well, I don't want the kids to see it. Do you want me to put, what do you want me to do? Do you want to get an app? Let him have input on a system that he thinks will work, that wouldn't annoy him. We'll say, he might say, send me voice texts. I would hate to get voice texts, because then it's not written anywhere and you have to listen to it again to know what it said. Maybe he's an audio learner and so you're sending him little voice texts. Don't forget this, don't forget that, whatever. And he can save them and listen to them at his later date. Whatever it is, let him have a participation in what that method is. Okay. You want to find out from him, husband, what can I do to unload my brain so I'm not rattled around, got to remember to tell him to change the light bulb, got to remember that, or have it on my list or whatever. What can I do to give it to you? And then if you need follow-up, okay, I hear that. I don't want to be your policeman. Ladies, do not be your husband's policeman. Do not set this up in a way that you have to be the alarm. If he says, listen, sometimes I forget to go to daven, or I forget to, I forget to take my thyroid medication, whatever it is, can you remind me? Say, can you put a reminder on your phone? Don't be his police. We ask so much of our husbands already, like things that we need and whatever. Putting yourself in a position of being his police and being his alarm clock is just a recipe for trouble. It's a recipe for, now, look, there could be a lot of people who are listening to this show who are like, oh, I always do that. Like, that really worked for us. Like, it would be great. He thinks of me like his assistant, his personal assistant that, keeps his life going. Okay, I hear. If that works for you, good luck. I mean, that's good. I hear if it's working. My gut instinct is, before you continue with it, Really look deep and see whether it doesn't create any kind of emotions that shouldn't be there. Emotions of you bossing him around. Emotions of him getting defensive. Emotions of him not wanting to be around you because it's like, oh, she's going to remind me of something. Really look deep into it, because I would suspect that there's some kind of emotional tension there that would be better off not to have. Okay, and that's because you're not being his alarm clock or his police. Okay.
Also, women sometimes joke they have 5 kids. They're like, oh, I have 6, including my husband. It could also create that feeling of oh, I have to take care of all of his affairs. Right. I have to make sure he shoelaces. People joke about stuff like that, and it's probably partially because of that, reminding him.
Yeah, because the reminding puts you into that thing like he's another one of your kids, into that mode. And the other thing is that when anyone who's watching this, and maybe don't tell your friends because they don't know, unasked for advice is never welcome, but don't ever say, if you have 4 kids, don't ever say I have 5, my husband's my kid too, or something like that. It's very, very degrading. And this brings it up, that this point. And actually, I didn't cover that anywhere in the book, saying, oh, he's one of my kids. And I had a woman who said this to me. She said, he comes into the kitchen and he's like, what's to eat, whatever. He doesn't open the cupboards and whatever. He's asked me what's to eat. He's like another kid. And I'm like, why don't you one time walk him around the kitchen and tell him, here's where we keep snack crackers. Here's extra cheese to put on the crackers. Here's some peanut butter if you're ever hungry. And here's some rice cakes. And give him a tour of the kitchen and show him. Your job is not to have him as a second kid, another kid, and most importantly, not to ever say it or to ever think it. It's very, very bad for you to feel like you've got another burden, even if he acts like it, but your mentality of locking him into that reality is not helping the situation. The way to help the situation is starting in this method, not to nag him about all this stuff, and to give him. The next point I was going to make, which leads into, is give him a way out.
But is it possible that some men, I mean, obviously not the majority, but that there would be some men that would actually feel very loved and taken care of by a wife who is, they can walk into the kitchen and say, what's to eat? And the wife will say, oh, honey, I have these yummy snack crackers. Yeah. And they feel very taken care of. There's, they're in control the whole day, and when they come home, they can
totally. I totally agree with that. And thank you for bringing up that clarification, because it's actually not it's not that a husband can't come in and say to his wife, what's to eat. That's not the problem. It's that she complained that he said that, and he's like a kid.
Okay,
if she had said, he comes in and then I take care of him and whatever.
And she loved it. Okay.
Fantastic.
Fine.
Fantastic.
So you're saying
Good
it's
point.
in the way that 2 parties perceive the situation.
Yeah. So if he's like that, good. That's fantastic.
Right.
Get
if she
him
feels
tea.
good about it, that she's fine.
She's
able to
serving
do things
him.
for him.
Yeah.
She feels like my kitchen is my domain, and I actually enjoy that he's not ruffling,
putting the neat things in there.
Taking crackers in there.
Yeah, exactly. So
okay.
100%.
Okay, so
Good point. Okay. So he also needs to weigh out. So for instance, if you have the Post-it system or colored Post-it notes, or you have an index card, or you have a list, or you have whatever, he's got to be able to say, you put on here that to take the car in for repairs. I really am not going to have time for a month. I know it. Will you just handle it? Or will you get the neighbor up the street to handle it? Or he's got to be, that this is now his holy, you know what I mean? His stuff that he's got to do. He's got to have a way out. Yeah. Okay, fine.
Rosemary has just pointed out something powerful, and it's actually something I think a lot of our women think. So she was saying that he also has to not feel like your dad. Basically, sometimes we act like mothers to our husbands. We're mothering them and telling them what to do.
Right.
So she says, what about when it's the flip side? When your husband is sort of being the dad.
You mean the micromanager of you.
The one who micromanages you and tells you what to do and how to do it, and is sort of being the reverse.
It's a fantastic question.
When's the men's class? No.
Classic question.
So the issue about that is that that's much easier to fix, by the way. So that's a good thing, because you have a lot more control over your ability to deal with it than you're just trying to use your Bini Asera, your women's intuition, to get him to do the things that need to be done around the house in the sweetest possible way, with the least amount of tension, with the most amount of closeness, without, him feeling like you're the boss or causing him stress or defensiveness. That's what the goal is. So if he is doing that to you and micromanaging you and asking whatever, I mean, if he's doing it, that perhaps there's a way maybe you've wanted him to do that. Maybe you continue to want him to do it, and that's fine. If that works in your relationship, that's fine. As long as, you don't get defensive and snap at him when he asks you to do something, then you're good. If it is an issue and causing tension and lack of closeness in the marriage, then you need to get yourself a board and say, here's my board. You want to tell me to do something? Put it there. Frankly, with my whole house, everybody in my family knows, we ran out of peanut butter, index card, mommy's desk, turned upside down so I can look at it when I need to. If it's upside down and I see it and I'm in a bad mood, you're not getting the peanut butter. No, not really, but, whatever. So everybody knows. And someone said, Mom, you never got blah, blah, blah. I'm like, did it go on an index card? They're like, oh, it's on them. And if it goes on the index card, pretty much it's getting done pretty fast. I mean, unless it's a complicated thing. But I'm awesome, dependable, if it's on an index card. If they tell me, like we're walking somewhere, they say, I need new shoes. Not happening.
Right.
They are not.
They don't hear it, right.
Yeah, they are gonna. It's not happening.
Yeah.
But they write, I need shoes this size. Here's my old ones. Take a picture. This is what whatever it is,
Right.
I can handle it. So you have to know yourself and have to know what works for you. Having them upside down is a little bit of a joke, but sometimes when life piles up, like you have this, we did this whole thing about stress, and when stress is pouring out the sides, and you just can't even deal with one little thing. One little tiny thing. We ran out of stamps. Kids don't know what stamps are. Does anyone know what stamps are? Okay, hello. We ran out of pencils. Or do people use pencils?
Yes.
Okay, fine, pencils. Okay, so we ran out of pencils, right? One little thing, and you've just had it. You can't. You almost feel like you can't deal with anything because it's just one more thing. So we have to be very careful on how we manage our husband with getting stuff done and how we manage ourselves with getting stuff. We have to know ourselves and set up systems. That's why having a plan is so powerful. Okay, let's go on. Oh, yeah, no, we're still on one. Okay. Bad plan is don't be as alarm clock, don't be as policeman. Right, Oh, okay. Here's the other thing. Have a reward system. So I know, what is he, my 2-year-old kid that he needs a chart for, whatever. So that isn't necessarily so, but you know your husband better than anybody on the planet. You know what kinds of things he likes. Maybe he likes, old Tintin comics. I don't know, some of the things that are maybe young for his age, or he likes, jigsaw puzzles. I don't know what people are into, but I'm just saying, or if he had more little silver glasses for kiddish. He's always saying, I like the silver ones better than the glass ones, but you never got the extra set of silver ones because they're not cheap, But you say, it's a busy time, it's Erev Pesach, and your Post-it note board is covered or whatever. You're like, if you can get the half of these things done or all of these things done, I'm going to get you another extra little kiddish cup, or I'm going to get you a puzzle, or I'm going to get you something. He'll kind of smile and look at you like, what are you, crazy? What am I too? And then guess what? When you give it to him,
He'll love it, right?
He'll love it.
But it can also be not an actual physical thing. Like if he, let's say, takes out your garbage or helps you with the kids or whatever, that you give him like 15 minutes to do his own thing. And like you give him not physical.
Yeah,
meaning
it doesn't
not
have to be
actual, tangible
materialistic.
reward, right. But things that you show him that like,
I don't mean to.
I really. Yeah. Oh, you're
but
throwing.
I'm throwing the water.
Get ready, ladies.
Hold on a second. Wait, I've got to hold on. I have to think.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a second. Okay, ready? So
Wait,
do I do this before?
No,
I have to time it.
First throw.
Wait, this is
and
a
then
little
when you
sound
think,
machine. Okay, I finally got it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay.
Because
Okay,
yeah,
here it is.
we asked our sound guy to give us sound effects, and
wait, what did you say that he needs? What? What did you say that men need specific instructions?
Yeah, men need specific. Yeah,
they don't take hints. If I got.
They can't hear your thoughts if you
yes,
don't
they
say
can
them.
hear your thoughts.
Okay, so I've been talking about getting a sound machine to make this crash noise for some time now, and I finally bought one myself. Okay, so but this one it goes on forever. So okay, so I throw it
Go,
first.
throw it, and then
do I have to wait till it hits the ground?
No, throw it, and then. Whoa! That was a crash. I think your window's just,
We did it. Isn't that a feeling of satisfaction? This is very embarrassing. I think I'm turning red. That's
No,
right.
yeah. You're turning the same color as the device.
As the device. The thing is that it's got, have you ever heard of, I thought it would go, this one goes like a whole mirror breaking, like a dozen glasses.
A window.
Okay, we did. You were in the middle of a very important point, and I have no idea what that was.
No.
Okay.
I said my point and you acknowledge it. That it doesn't have to be a physical reward.
Okay.
It could be giving them, or even giving him really amazing appreciation.
Verbal
like,
feedback.
Right. We don't appreciate.
Is Jose still talking to us, or did he walk off
Jose
set?
didn't hear a word. By the way, Jose didn't hear a word we said. That's our
A guy thing.
Meet Jose. Hi,
Okay.
Jose.
Fine.
No, we love Jose. He doesn't. It just also could be just a verbal. We're not grateful enough verbally. Meaning, he took out the garbage. He's supposed to take out the garbage. He doesn't thank me for everything I do. I'm supposed to be doing. But if you sat there and said, "Oh my gosh, the garbage was just piling up," and I'm thinking, and then you went and I saw you took it, and
It meant so much to me.
meant so much to me.
Yeah, very good.
Or even telling him, like, I really received your love. Like, when you did that, I felt really loved. That's something I like to say. And also, or even being joking and be like, my hero. Like, it really comes across.
Yeah, your little gadget was loved. The poem princess said, "Oh my gosh, sell this on your website." I am plotting, which means in layman's terms, which means she's absolutely laughing hysterically.
Okay, fine. Cute, very good. Okay, fine. We have other ones too.
Stay tuned. Now, just to say, stay tuned. We have other sounds.
They're really cute. Okay, so fine. So now, here's the thing. You need to also have a sit-down, when you're having the sit-down conversation of, what works for you, dear. I'm on an anti-nag campaign. What works for you? You need to figure out brainstorm ways to deal with it in the moment. When the pressure is tough and how do you communicate to him something you need in the moment? So you need to create a system for replacing batteries and smoke alarms, for changing light bulbs, for doing house repairs. You need to figure out whether you're going to hire people, make a master list, whether you're going to do it yourself, whether you're not even going to ask them, and you're going to just buy a ladder with fencing all the way around in a circular, whatever, so you're not scared of the ladder. Whatever it is, what can you take off his list? We have to realize that we have to choose our battles, because if he comes in the door and we have really in the back of our mind, we want him to, help with bathe one kid. We want him to, and we have a list of like 7 things. Guess what's fallen off the list right away? Him taking care of us. Him being emotionally supportive of us. So really be careful what you ask, because, again, this all depends. If you work full-time and he works full-time, it's a little bit of a different equation. It's a little bit tougher. But if you aren't working full-time, or you stay at home and mom or whatever, and whatever you can take off his list means he's got more energy for you. Now, I have women that say, well, Leah, that would be nice, but he doesn't. When he has extra time, he goes and plays his video games, or he goes and checks email, or whatever he does, it's not me. He goes to the gym longer. I hear that. If you keep up taking things off his to-do list and you communicate to him, I took all this stuff off your to-do list. I hope you appreciate that. Wink, wink. Want to go for a walk? Just try. Right. Again, this is all trial and error. The main thing is you want to make a plan ahead of time to avoid conflict. Right. You know where the tension spots are in your marriage. You know when it gets like, or like when you're both in the living room, you're correcting the papers and he's paying doing the insurance thing or whatever, and when it's just a slow drip of poison, of one thing after another. You know when those times are, or if you don't, you need to start being aware of them, and come up with a plan to avoid that kind of tension in the home. Okay.
But is it okay, because you were saying how to take things off his list, but is it okay if for certain people, like I know myself, I'm a very, if he does things for me, that shows me love. So I don't need him to sit and, sit and talk to me for 15 minutes or tell me how beautiful I look. I would rather, if he changes the light bulb, oh my God, I'm in love with you, and we will be married for the rest of our lives, So, so meaning all that stuff on his list is things that actually make me feel loved when he does it. So me taking them off, almost, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying I should be a hag about it, or a nag about it. I should be a haggy nag. I should be, neither of those. But I'm saying that whenever he does something for me, it makes me feel very loved.
I really
So I would sort of, So I don't know. For me, I'm asking, is that like, would that be an issue if I sort of left that on his list, but I didn't nag about it. I just left it, and because it does make me feel very appreciative and very loved. And I definitely see that when he does something for me, the whole night.
It's all in
different.
knowing how you receive love.
Yeah.
Also, like different people receive love in different ways.
So is that
Right.
wrong?
So, no, I
Do
hear.
I need to change it and now sit for 15 minutes and just look into each other's eyes?
Right, no, yeah.
Because I'd rather he change the light bulb.
right. I got it.
And I can look at him up on the ladder.
Yeah. I get it. There you go. Don't enough togetherness. Get up on the ladder. So I get it. Okay, so it's a really good question. I'm just looking at our sources. They talk about how a wife needs to bring closer to a man what is pleasing to him and pull away things that are not pleasing to a man.
Right. So you're saying that if it's not pleasing for him
So-
to do all that stuff. Then
I don't know.
It
I don't
depends
know.
on the guy also. I think
really depends.
ultimately you know your husband and your own limits.
Right, but
No, but every guy, he'd be happier sitting and playing video games and not
doing the light
That's
bulb.
what I'm
Right,
saying.
yeah.
So,
So so this is
He
where
might
it's a
not
little
like
sticky.
it.
But here's the thing is that, a man was born, your husband, and all of our husbands were born, all
we're
of our
born.
husbands were born, were created
we're created.
to give to us. So changing a light bulb should give him, huge amounts of satisfaction.
Yeah,
If
he's
I show
fulfilling
it, you're
his
saying
purpose
It's
with
the
that
same
light
if
bulb.
I show it to him,
If you show the
if I make it,
appreciation.
if I receive it properly and fully
Yeah.
acknowledge it,
Yeah.
that might be the difference.
That might be
Without
the
the
difference,
nagging to
but
get it
also there's another thing too, which is that sometimes I'll start to ask my husband for something, and I'm like, would I rather him do that for me, or drop it and have something else from him?
Right.
And a lot of times I'd rather have something else
So
from
you're
him.
saying it's then figuring out your needs.
Yeah, it's figuring out your needs much clearer. Yeah. And actually, I didn't say that point. Where was that? But I was talking about how we covered whole sections. If you haven't looked below, or whatever, find in our I keep forgetting the name.
Yeah.
A library, digital library. Our digital library. Find where it's something
your
on
needs met.
getting your needs met, because it's very, very crucial. Because once you understand that, then you don't bother him with all the wants. You just
Right.
going for the deep
wants
needs
that aren't fulfilling you.
that weren't
ultimately.
right. They're not fulfilling you. So I would, if I were you, I would do, even though that is your love language or whatever, and that means a lot to you, I would look before you comes out of your mouth.
Okay.
Examine that.
Okay.
Just examine. Say, am I going to feel more loved by this or more loved by, I'd asked him to come with me to Trader Joe's because I need lugging or whatever it is that happens to be at the moment. Let me leave this off the list.
Okay.
That could be the acts of
So
service.
maybe trying to leave one thing.
Try,
seeing how it
and
feels.
then report back. Oops.
Yeah.
Report back to us and let us know how
Yes,
it goes.
yes,
Okay, fine.
okay.
Okay, we have to come through our things. Number 2 was prioritize. Be very selective and limit the number of things you request you ask your husband. Oh, this is where it is, needs and wants. Okay, it says we cover wants and needs. Don't rattle off a list of demands for him. Change your mindset to thinking, these are items we need to get for the household's benefit. I'm accountable and he's accountable. If the light bulb is out, okay, maybe he's the one who does it. And I should probably think of another example, like rotating the tires, bring it in, but I mean, a lot of stuff could be delegated. And there, people say, that's costly and it costs money and, whatever. Or if I take time off work or if he takes time off work, whatever it is, you have to think to yourself, if you have it's kind of like a Shalom Bayis budget, I don't remember what a Rav said one time that you should have a bank account that you put any extra money that comes in, any floating this, and a check you didn't expect, put it in the Shalom Bayis account, and then when something like this comes up, you're like, there's 4 light bulbs and the door hinge and the back patio is crumbling. I'm going to get a handyman for Shalom Bayis. I've been nagging about this for 3 months. It's not getting done. I'm going to just do that. Mm-hmm. So that's a way to look at it. Recognizing the cost of nagging will help you enormously to get over doing it. We think of nagging as just, it's a bad habit, or, it at least gets things done. But it creates tension in the home. It creates distance. It turns you into an annoyance rather than somebody he looks forward to being with. We have to understand when you're nagging and you're in the same room with him, there's a tension in the air. If you don't nag, he either doesn't notice you or no, but it's like there's a pleasantness. Even if you're not talking, there's a pleasantness where if you had dropped a few bombs on him and then you're in the room together, there's not a pleasantness. There's a tension and you're annoyed because he's not changing the light bulb, and he's annoyed that you asked him to change the light bulb. It's not such a pleasant atmosphere. Okay, very good. Number 3 is remember the ultimate goal. So I don't care where you're holding in your marriage and what's important to you, what's not important to you. There's one goal that we all have, and if you don't have it, you need to examine your emotional dysfunctional patterns or whatever of why you're not interested in this, and that is closeness. The ultimate goal is closeness. So it's a mind shift. We're so in this society, we're so focused on accomplishing and getting things done and, being efficient and being, doing things the best way and having the best table setting or the best, whatever it is in our life that we try and be perfect at. Shlemus, and it's important to have shlemus in our, shlemus is perfection in our character and in our, how we run our life and our organizational ability. You want to improve all of these things. That's wonderful. But if accomplishment comes at the expense of closeness, missing the ballgame. Really not in the same field. Closeness is what we're after. And if in the moment when you're, about to nag, I have some examples here. Okay, so you want your husband to buy frequent flyer miles. And it's a certain cutoff date because you know how I don't know if anyone else has bought frequent flyer miles, but they go, and then you don't get a seat, or you get one seat. You can get somebody there for free, and you get somebody else there. You're paying a fortune on a different flight at a different time. So frequent flyer miles have to be ordered early, and you keep nagging your husband, and nothing's working. So you come, Leah, this is if I don't nag, guess what? I'm like, what? If I don't nag, we're either going to not be able to go on vacation, or we're going to have to pay a fortune. And here's the answer. Both of those outcomes are better than nagging. Let me repeat. If you miss the vacation, or you pay a fortune for the tickets rather than getting them for free on frequent flyer miles, those are better outcomes than nagging. That's how destructive nagging is. She's going, whoa, okay. So now you have another example. What if you tell your husband 10 times to change the light bulb and he never does? What do? Make a plan. Think of ways to constructively comment about it. Boy, even joking humor. Boy, it's getting darker and darker in here. Something. You communicate it. You think of a way. What else can you do about it? Can you hire somebody? If you ask him, can I hire somebody? Is that going to be fruitful? If it is, terrific. If saying, well, I'm just going to hire a handyman then. If saying that is going to tick him off and upset him, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Shoving your husband away, pushing your husband away. You think it's pushing him away? No. When you push him away, guess what? You're further away from him. Your happiness depends on you not pushing him away. So it's very crucial to understand what the goal is. This is all a trial and error exercise. So you're going to try things. They're going to work. Some people have been nagging for a very, very long time. If that's you, you need to sit down, maybe get a notebook, a journal, and try and figure out, why do I nag? Is this what I learned? Is this the patterns I learned from my childhood? Is this my role models? Is it fear-based or whatever? Let me just see. So you're remembering that the goal is closeness, and you're also asking yourself this question. What does nagging accomplish? So a lot of women will say, well, he does the stuff. And then I ask the next $1 million question is, how does he feel about it? And how do you feel about it? Right. Okay, we're going to break for a couple of questions, and then I'm going to give a wrap-up.
And also just to let our listeners know, that list app, we used Wunderlist as our app.
Okay.
Wonder with a U, WUNDERLIST. But Trello is actually one of them, the top 3 on the list of apps, and has so many other Toodle-Do, AnyDo, TikTok, all these different apps that literally you can collaborate with other people and just put things on, and they look at it when they look at it. So it's not that, you know, when
It's
he goes
dinging or
grocery
something,
shopping, he can take a look and see, oh, all these things were added. And it's not like, oh, you forgot the milk. Or
You said you used to use that. Why
Yeah,
don't
we
you use
used
it
to-
anymore?
No, because we got into a system now where that system worked so well, and we got into a system where now he's not bothered by me. Like, I could just leave him a list of stuff, and that was how we got into...
Eased into.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was so used to giving him, because I like when he does things for me. I was so used to texting him a million things, and he's like, I have to look back, and can't refer to it, and then you changed it on me later, and I forgot.
Pretzels.
It's all like confusing. So that worked, and once we got really good at that, now he's just like,
What
okay,
can I do
great,
for
leave
you,
me,
Dad?
leave me the list on my little work area, leave me the list, and he'll get to it. So
Are there any
We
other
don't use
input from people, either teleconference or Instagram or Facebook? Any other inputs on ideas, on logistics of how to do it? We'd love to hear.
we'll wait for them to respond, but somebody did say that they developed a system to do this type of stuff, a system of how not to nag, and it's not working, meaning her husband's list is just growing, and the system does
He's not getting the stuff
meaning
done.
the system that they worked out together, because you said create a system and sit together and
So
come
this is
up with
one
a
of my
system.
former students or something like that wrote this
Yeah.
question? Okay.
Yeah, that the system that was created is not
Working.
So what do you do at that point?
So obviously they need to go back and reevaluate. They need to, they need to reevaluate and and what I would do if I were you, and if you're listening, is I would have him, just speak out straight. First of all, I don't know that you, in the conversation with him, if you said, this is my anti-nagging technique, because that's a big motivator for guys. Like, oh, I'm doing this instead of her nagging me. Yeah, get me in. I'm going to sign up for that. So I don't know if you told him that, or you pre-sold him on the idea, or pitched him, made sure he knew that's what you're going to do. But also, when you sit him down, say, look, I'm on an anti-nagging campaign, and, we had this list idea and this whole thing, and I thought our conversation was fantastic. It just isn't working. And I don't want to come down on you and, hey, you didn't do that. Yeah, that feels like I'm being your police. It feels like I'm being your nagger. I don't want to be that wife. So let's brainstorm another idea. So I don't know what system you came up with, but whether it was an app. So now try doing it on a notebook, buy a pretty notebook or a clipboard or something, whatever you think he would like. And, try, or if you're doing it electronic, if you now doing it in paper, try electronic. Try different methods. The other thing is that one of the most powerful tools that we can use that has an unbelievable track record is praying. Just praying. God, you see what I'm dealing with. You see, I'm trying so hard not to nag and be that woman. I'm trying not to be, I'm trying to get rid of that habit. It's very hard for me. You see how hard how much duct tape I've used up. I'm almost done my whole thing of duct tape, okay? Right. You see how hard I'm trying. Please help my husband ease his heart. Please have him listen and do more and be motivated and put more time into this. Break down walls, break down the barriers, and help us to be close. You know how much I want it, and you know how hard I'm working for it, and try and help me.
Yeah. And then someone from when we had done that last show 2 weeks ago, which is the 8 ways to bring out the worst in your husband, definitely watch that show. It's power packed with information. Okay. It's in our Facebook files. But she basically had said she realized as she was hearing you talking about this nagging, she's like, oh my God, I do that all the time. And it's so ingrained. And it's just part of life, because the baby will need to have the diaper change, and her son will need to have his shoes put on, and so there's just so much going on, and she's trying to navigate it all, and in the process her husband is standing there and he's not doing anything on his own. So she's saying, can you please do that? Could you do that? Could you do that? Could you do that? And she said it's ingrained in the fabric of their makeup. How do you then change and switch that, especially if he's not instinctively
He's waiting for her.
he's
to
waiting.
say,
Correct. I mean, he's not on
"What's
his own
next?"
looking at the situation and saying, okay, there's a lot going on right now on my wife's plate, and that one's
So
bothering me.
happy you brought this up.
You know, how do
Okay,
you-
so time out. There's a difference between, nagging about an ongoing daily thing and nagging about a sort of a crisis situation. Not a crisis, but, something huge that needs to be taken care of. So, the plumber, there's a big leak. The roof is leaking and it's dripping and it's dripping. And, that's something, you can't just sort of leave it go. Then there's day-to-day things. Those are requests. That's not necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily call that nagging, but it's a fine line to discern, and I don't know where that fine line is. Nagging, one thinks of, a hag who's repeatedly going again and again and again about the same thing. This is kind of like barking out orders, which I also don't think is a very good idea. So as long as in a situation where the diaper needs to be changed, the food needs to be whatever, I think in a time that's not in the heat of the moment, you need to have a discussion with your husband and say, listen, here's the situation. Sometimes things are flying. This one woke up from a nap. That one needs a bath. That one, whatever. We need to get out the house. Where's the sneakers? Where's the diaper bag? Whatever. And those times, I really need help, obviously. I can't do that myself. Or I could, but I'd be miserable. And it seems like you've always been pretty great about being willing to help, and I really appreciate that. My problem is, dear husband of mine, how do I make requests of you in that moment that don't make me feel like I'm barking out orders? I just feel uncomfortable with it. Yeah, I could sit there and wait and, gee, there's the diaper bag. Now he's walking by the diaper bag. Now no, I've got to communicate it. How can we do it so I'm not barking out orders? But I'm the one who knows what needs to be brought. You don't know that the shoes that you just picked up to put on don't fit the kid anymore. I did it, I put them on him yesterday and they didn't fit, So how do we manage that so I don't bark? And he'll say, no, I don't mind. And you're like, no, I'm not taking, letting you off the hook that easy. What do I do? You want me to start every sentence with, if it's possible? Can you get the diaper bag? If it's possible, can you grab the kid's shoes? That's a great solution, by the way. Great solution. But again, if he buys in and you explain that to him, it's very, very different than you expecting it and demanding it. It's almost like, excuse me, like what he's your hired whatever. It's so sad. Men do it to women also, so they also need to improve in this area. But women, again, because we're the ones who know the house and what has to fly, we're the ones who are barking out the orders. And it's if you find yourself in that situation and you're frozen, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm doing exactly what Leah said is not the right thing to do. Just remember these words. Is it possible? Is it possible for you to grab the water bottles? Is it possible for whatever? You have a question?
No. I just said it's 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
I want the homework.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
and the homework.
I'm
Okay, fine.
sure there's a homework that we
that's
need to
good.
do.
Excellent point.
Yeah.
Thank you for writing those in. Thank you for all the questions today, by the way, everybody. And for this last week, it gave us a lot to mull over. Okay. Wrap up. Leah's secret of the day is nagging always accomplishes the opposite of what we're trying to accomplish. I'm going to say it again. Nagging always accomplishes the exact opposite of what we want to accomplish. It always creates distance in the marriage when really what we want more than anything in the world is closeness. And here's your homework. One time this week, when a nagging comment is about to come out of your mouth, you're about to say, did ya? Or would ya? Okay, and you're about to nag. Completely freeze. Freeze. You're frozen, okay? Freeze. Instead of nagging, give your husband a compliment. It's the farthest thing I could think of from nagging, okay? So you're about to say, would ya? You look great today, actually. Or, oh, are those the new shoes? They do look terrific. Or, thank you so much for, how nicely you did, change the diaper. Or whatever it is. Give your husband a compliment. He won't even say, what were you starting to say?
Keep being an amazing husband.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Would you keep being an amazing husband? I love that. Yeah. So you are giving your husband a compliment instead of nagging, and you are going to witness, ladies, every one of you, you're going to witness a transformation in your home like you can't believe. Taking out nagging is what brings bracha into your home. You'll watch it. This is not like a, oh, Leah's good idea. This is go try this at home, and you will see, proof is in the pudding, how powerful this is. Report below. Give us homework next week.
And for anyone joining, I saw a few people joining just now on Instagram. We save this on Facebook, so even if you can't watch it in the next 24 hours, we save it on Facebook. Share it, like us, comment. We love it.
Okay, thank you everybody for being here. This is Leah Richheimer for the Ladies Talk Show. See you next week.